Warning. Warning. The following game is rated M. The video in question can contain bad language, crude humor, sexual themes, and probably demonetization from the YouTube overlords. You have been warned.
Happy holidays, everyone, and looks like this year is finally almost over, and to be honest, it couldn't come fast enough. So, keeping with the holiday spirit, I decided to look at a game that my friend wanted me to review, but it still falls underneath the whole horror games that we've been looking at. This game just so happens to take place around Christmas, so it works. This is a little PS1 action RPG called Parasite Eve. So, I have really no real connection to this game. In fact, I think I have heard maybe a handful of things about this game. But honestly, when I put this game and saw the layout, I was expecting something similar to like the Resident Evil or Alone in the Dark series. But to my surprise, it was a RPG. I guess it makes sense considering this is a Squaresoft game, but this game, while supervised and directed by people at Squaresoft, they are credited for making the 4th Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger. This game is apparently a sequel to the book of the same title. Nah, I'm not gonna read that, I don't have the time. So, besides the fact that this game is based off a book, it goes on to have a few sequel games, a film adaptation, and a manga. The game is apparently the first M-rated game that Squaresoft has ever made, so apparently after the hit that was Final Fantasy VII, Squaresoft got a lot of deals to make these kinds of games that kind of strayed away from the norm, and usually include demo discs of their popular titles to make people want to buy their other games, and Parasite Eve was no exception. So, let's go ahead and jump right in. I knew next to nothing when I popped this game into my PS3, so let's begin with Parasite... Booncy?
What's up?
The fuck?
Huh?
Why are you here?
Oh. Well, I figured I'd help you out with this one.
It's not enough that I'm reviewing this game, you want to be a part of it too?
Yeah.
Okay, fine then.
And this is Parasite Eve.
Hey wait, that's my shit!
So the game begins in New York City on Christmas Eve 1997, outside of Carnegie Hall, where our hero, Aya Bree, an NYPD rookie, is going on a blind date to the opera. Wow. Good choice, dude. As the show begins and the creepy, beautiful music begins to play, things start to get a little heated, as nearly the entire audience spontaneously combusts and almost everyone dies, leaving Aya and an actress on stage named Melissa Pierce.
Aya confronts the actress, and Melissa tells us that Aya's mitochondria needs more time to develop, then flees backstage with Aya giving chase.
What are you doing?
I'm looking up 7th grade science.
Why?
What the fuck are even half these words?
I'm gonna need a drink.
A fireplace, which provides heat, keeps it warm, energy. In a cell, you might find mitochondria, which power the cell. Same idea.
After giving chase, Melissa then mutates into a beast and flees into the sewers, proclaiming her name is Eve. On Christmas Day, Aya and her partner, Daniel Dulles, go to the Museum of Natural History to meet a scientist named Dr. Hans Clamp, who may be able to help them understand things.
Clamp here gives us a science lesson about mitochondria. It's the powerhouse of the cell, but it's more or less a runaround, and he has no useful information right now. Back at the precinct, Aya and Daniel head to Central Park chasing after his son, who is mad that he doesn't have time to spend with him, and they find out that at the theater in the park that Eve is there.
Upon reaching the park, Daniel is unable to go in without bursting into flames, and Aya heads in alone with her plot armor. It's too late to stop Eve, and she causes the mitochondria in the audience to rebel against her hosts, turning the crowd into a giant slimy orange goo. Aya decides to go on a lovely carriage ride with Eve, where they fight over who gets to keep the flaming horse that's pulling them along. After the ride, Aya is knocked into Dreamworld and Eve decides to take her exit.
Daniel finds his son alive and learns that he left the show when he started feeling sick, and his mom began to act weird. We also find out that they are evacuating Manhattan due to the threat that Eve is posing. Aya awakens in an apartment building in Soho with Daniel and a Japanese scientist named Maeda who snuck into the city during the evacuation. He then reveals the origins of Eve and that a scientist tried to science his wife after she was involved in a car accident.
Science? His wife?
Hey, I'm doing my best to try and follow along, but along the fact that this game is an RPG with a considerable amount of text, there's a lot of big words that are flowing over my head.
So what you're telling me is this game is above your pay grade.
Shut up.
The mitochondria and the scientist's wife begin to take over her body, and Maeda believes that Eve may be trying to give birth to an ultimate being.
It's a hedgehog!
No, it's a lizard. Just a lizard.
Well, whatever it is, the next day the three of them go to see Dr. Clamp again. They examine some cell samples from Eve and Aya, and Maeda figures out that two cells are in an evolutionary race for survival. Then Clamp shows up and gets hostile towards Aya, and the three bounce to St. Francis Hospital, where, according to Maeda, they think Eve may try to get artificial sperm for the ultimate life form?
I am Shadow the Hedgehog, the ultimate life form, born and raised aboard the Ark.
I could have done without that mental image.
Ah, Christmas. Don't you just love the holidays? Well, the next day, Aya sees the orange goop heading towards the water supply for the city. She goes to confront Clamp and confirms that he did in fact make the artificial sperm for Eve so that she can make the ultimate being. Clamp tells Eve that he is ready, and Eve proceeds to set Clamp on fire. Aya then goes to look for Eve, where she finds Eve throwing a baby shower with the orange goo from before.
After the #1 ranked military in the world...
Where is it?
Where's what?
The #1 military force in the world. You just mentioned it, so it must be around here somewhere.
has failed multiple attempts and just ends up blowing up some nearby buildings, which, after they fail, they ask Aya, since she is the only one that can get close without bursting into flames, and bring her in via an unmanned helicopter, which works out, but she has to fight Eve one-on-one on a now-destroyed Statue of Liberty.
After the fight, Eve suffers some cell damage due to her unstable cells. Aya gets some much-needed rest on the ship, and then out of the water, Eve gives birth to the ultimate being. The creepy baby then climbs up on the ship. The crew members decide to evacuate, leaving Aya alone to fight off the child. As the child rapidly goes through puberty, it can no longer take damage from bullets.
That is until Meta gives Daniel a clip full of special Aya cell bullets, and Daniel free falls from the helicopter, catches on fire, and throws it at Aya. Daniel then falls into the water below.
Damn, that was pretty cool.
Aya is then able to completely decimate the boss with these overpowered bullets, but the ultimate being won't die that easily. So Aya comes up with a surefire plan. When bullets can't kill it, blow it the fuck up. She overloads the boiler pressure until the entire ship explodes, killing the ultimate being once and for all.
The next day, Aya, Daniel, his son Ben, and Maeda go to Carnegie Hall where the whole mess started. Maeda attempts to confess his feelings for Aya, but gets cucked by Ben. Aya enjoys to play, then Daniel doesn't have to deal with his ex-wife anymore. All's well that ends well. Oh, I almost forgot. Everyone's mitochondria begins to flare up as the screen fades to black, leaving a bunch of red glowy eyes. Thus, ending Parasite Eve.
Well, that was interesting to say the least. I honestly didn't know what to expect from this series. There is another ending with a secret boss, but I barely had time to finish this game as is, so if you want the extra challenge, go check it out for yourself.
So, what'd you think about the plot?
I don't know. It was okay, but it was kind of hard to take serious with all the talk of mitochondria. It seemed so out of place whenever it was said. That and the artificial sperm just... Well, with that out of the way, let's talk about the gameplay. And honestly, I know this came out way before, but I was getting kind of like Crisis Core flashbacks. The game is done with the real-time action bar where you can run around and dodge enemy attack and use a multitude of guns to attack your enemies.
That is, until you get access to the Parasite powers, which is basically this game's form of magic, giving you the ability to heal damage, status effects, give yourself buffs, scan enemies' HP, as well as revive yourself when you suck and die. Now there are some damaging powers, but both of those drain your PE points completely. This makes the game a nice balancing act between using your PE points and firing your gun for survival. Although the meter does fill up over time and you can increase the rate, after a while, it starts to fill up extremely slow.
Yeah, until you find out that you can swap armor to reset the PE meter recharge time.
Really? What a great mechanic.
Yeah, found that tidbit out right at the end.
Well, to be fair, we're dumbasses and focused on leveling up inventory space. Although, you are right, that could have made things a lot easier.
Yeah, no shit. I'm sure it could have been an easy exploit to use, but honestly, except the final battle over using the PE points, it isn't a huge deal, and it's not like we want the game to be too easy anyway.
True.
The game also has a very interesting weapon and armor management system. As you run through, you can find chests with weapons, items, and armor to equip to Aya to make your journey a little easier, but there are also buffs you can find to add to your armor to make mods. These range from a gun doing more damage, allowing you to shoot multiple times as well as make another action, whether that be another round of firing, or use your PE points to gain some more health.
But what you find is what you get, and any modifications on one gun is fixed to that gun. Then when you find a new gun you want to use, you gotta find these things called tools, so you can transfer over all those buffs and add-ons. Unless you find the rare super tools, The previous weapon will be destroyed when you transfer the buffs, so consider when you use them wisely. Also, don't hit the wrong button and delete your favorite gun.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. That being said, you have limited inventory space, which is fine. Leveling up and certain armor allows you to carry more items. But you can't drop key items, and that takes up space, which sucks.
Yeah, about that.
What's up?
So we could have put them in storage after using them, and then after you beat the game, they are removed from your inventory except for the secret boss key.
Oh, come on! That's what I get for going into the game completely blind.
Overall, I enjoyed the game, and also it's good to mention the demo disc turned me on to one of my favorite RPGs. The disc contained a few trailers of some upcoming games from Square, and a playable demo of a game called Xenogears. Besides me rambling, is there anything special you want to say about your personal experience?
Well, I guess this was definitely an interesting game, and I'm glad I got to see some of Square's more out of there kind of game, and would be interested at revisiting the series, maybe at a later time though.
So, you gonna tackle the Half-Life series before Half-Life 3 comes out?
Yeah, I might, but I do have some other ideas before I get there, but I'll let you know. Well, everyone, I hope you guys have a happy holiday. You know I have a door.
Have you seen how many people touch doorknobs? You want me to catch a disease or something? Fat chance. I'll chill down here with the rats.
I have rats? Well, when next we meet, it'll be for Angels of Death, so go ahead and make sure you tap that subscribe button and smack that bell to know when the next video will be out. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again real soon.